This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Let's talk about pets, baby. Let's talk about ticks and fleas. All the fun things that we see. Smart tips and tricks guaranteed.
All right, pet friends, we are back for another episode of Let's Talk About Pets. I do not, in fact, live in a lake. I do know how to make waves. I'm your host, Nessie.
Hello, I'm Echo. I still don't have anything fun. Let's add Echo. Puns for Echo. Ooh, this is from Pun Generator.
Ooh,
Oh,
I like Pun Generator.
this is not what I anticipated. Okay,
Is it weird?
hold on. It's like, hey, the pun is leopard echo, based on the leopard gecko. Crested echo instead of crested gecko.
Crested echo. It sounds like you need a pedicure, boo.
I don't think it's crusted echo. I think it's
No, but it could be.
Oh my goodness.
These are strange.
These are not good. I don't have anything good. Oh, do echoes ever get lonely? After all, they're only talking to themselves.
No.
Echoes, because even sounds need to reflect on things. That's not terrible.
No.
I heard a joke about an echo. It won't stop repeating itself. Oh, actually, I like this one.
Okay.
I'm in a band called The Echoes. You've probably heard us before.
That's cute. This one says, introducing the one, the only, actually maybe the second one, Echo.
That's funny.
It's funny. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your hats and fasten your seatbelts, because I present to you the one, the only, the reverberating sensation, Echo.
Wow. That's quite an introduction.
That's a very big introduction. All right, so which one are you going with for today?
And I'm Echo. You've probably heard me before. Just like that, like quiet moment of like,
It's very
oh, I get it.
Actually, since we're on the topic, how many eyes does a spider have?
8.
I mean, it doesn't really matter because they're all on you anyway.
I like that. That's funny.
And the weird thing is we weren't on the subject at all.
No. No, we weren't. But Stacy does now have a pet jumping spider.
Yes, I did see pictures of it.
Yes. Well, actually, and if you remember from when Stacy was on our episode on diabetes, the joke that we need to have a band called Authentically Awkward, right?
Yes.
Well, I'll have you know that Authentically Awkward has just recorded their first song a few days ago. Should hopefully be up on Spotify soon. And I thought we could put that song at the end of our episode instead of our AI-generated song.
That sounds like a very fine idea. And I think it was a mix of everybody putting in.
I couldn't remember. I should have gone back and listened to it.
Yeah, it was a little bit of everything splashed into a pot, mixed together, stirred around, dumped on the floor.
Watched through a few times.
And then, and Authentically Awkward happened. So
Yes. Which is a very appropriate name.
that's funny. So today is actually part 2 of our toxins series. This time we are covering which kind?
Plants, medications, and household items, if we can get through it all.
Sound good.
Could be just plants and medications. We'll see.
We're gonna see where the night takes us.
That's right. That's right.
The day night, the night man. Woo!
I have no idea what's going on.
If you have not watched Always Sunny in Philadelphia, you would not get that.
Oh.
Anyway, where shall we start today?
Well, let's review first of what are toxins. So toxins are just very simply defined as substances that are foreign to the body that cause disease. 6.1% of all calls to the ASPCA's Animal Poison Control Center in 2024 were about plants and fungi. So the APCC has a full list of all toxic and non-toxic plants. And then they further divide them up by species. So you can look based exclusively on if you're interested in dogs, cats, or horses. There are 417 plants that are toxic to dogs, 424 plants that are toxic to cats, and 362 plants that are toxic to horses. We, of course, don't have enough time to talk about all of them, but I did want to run through kind of the most, and also what some of the most dangerous ones. You have a lot of plants, and so I'd be curious to know if you have any of these around your house too, because I don't do plants.
I only keep plants right here in this office room, and they stay closed off to the animals.
That's probably good.
I have no idea which ones are safe or not safe because I'm not looking all these plants up. I just keep them all
yes
away.
That's a really good way to do it too. I thought we would start with kind of the ones that have more mild symptoms, which would be, mostly GI upset, a little bit of nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, that kind of thing, inappetence. So those are going to be plants like aloe, carnations, chrysanthemums, dahlias, daisies. Daisies can also cause incoordination as well if they're consumed. Eucalyptus, gardenias, geraniums, gladiolas, holly. Like there's a ton on this list of mild symptoms.
Just a dollop of daisy?
I think maybe just a dollop. Yep.
I don't see myself breaking up a dollop of a daisy onto my food. The sour cream, however.
Very good.
I'll dollop that up all day. Yeah.
That's good. Hydrangeas have cyanogenic glycosides, which we learned about in our part 1. So that can be problematic as well. But they did say that actual cyanide intoxication is rare. But among this list is irises, lavenders, morning glories, peonies, poinsettias, primrose, snake plants, which I think I see behind you there, tulips, and wisteria. All of those have mild symptoms. A couple of them can cause dermatitis. Morning glories cause hallucinations. Well, that was really interesting. Like, how do you know if a dog is hallucinating? I don't know.
I don't know. That's an
What do dogs hallucinate about?
I like to imagine psychedelic dragonflies.
I was thinking maybe their owner turned into a giant rawhide stick.
Oh my gosh. Or a super cracked out squirrel that's like tormenting them. Bet you can't get me. How about I'm over here? I'm over here.
Like they fall into a snake pit, but instead of snakes, it's like a bunch of mailmen,
Interesting scenario. Are we reading the back of a romance novel again? Or
Yeah, boy.
No, this was not from the back of one. This wasn't a personal fantasy you were discussing. This was
a snake pit of mailmen?
A giant pit of mailmen?
No, but
we're speaking of dogs, right?
We're speaking of that. Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, giant pit of mailmen would be odd. But can you imagine the calves? Well, I used to live in a little neighborhood where we didn't have mailboxes on the street. We had them on our houses. So we had a mailman that would walk and walk and walk.
They made us put mailboxes on the street. They're like, we won't deliver to your houses anymore.
Really? I mean, I bet it's a lot more time efficient.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, I would not want to walk all that in rain and beating sunshine and storming or snow where I used to live. He would have to walk through snow.
No, thank you.
I got a citation one time for not shoveling the part of the sidewalk that was in front of my house fast enough after a blizzard because they were like, you need to make it safe for the mailman. And I was like, oh, right. Because he's still got to deliver.
How very insensitive of you.
I know.
I definitely hope you don't wind up in a pit of mailmen because they're all very mad at you. Because I don't shovel the sidewalk fast enough. Yes. Right. They have some things to say to you about that.
Yeah. So some toxic plants with some more moderate or even severe symptoms, things like, tremors or convulsions, those kind of things can happen from amaryllis, from begonias, buttercups, chamomile even. That was an interesting one because long-term use of chamomile in pets can lead to bleeding tendencies.
So that's even the chamomile that you use to make tea? Is that the same?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm not 100% on that, but It didn't break it down into anything further. So I think it's all chamomile. It's because it's the oil in the plant is volatile. And so it has, I don't even know if I'm going to pronounce this correctly because I did not look up pronunciation, but it has bisabolol, chemazoline, anthemic acid, and tannic acid. So all 5 of those things are in chamomile, which are dangerous to dogs, cats, and horses. They can get contact dermatitis from it. They can have allergic reactions to it. So keep your chamomile tea away from your pets. Daffodils as well, hyacinth, narcissus plants, and nightshade. Like narcissus can cause cardiac arrhythmias. Nightshade can cause bradycardia.
Can turn you into a werewolf.
Is that a thing?
It's in some of the lore of some of the movies I've seen. I think it was caused by nightshade. Like I think in Zootopia they used nightshade to turn the predator animals back into predators, back into like wild predators.
Interesting. Yeah, nightshade is some dangerous stuff for pets. We don't want to give that to them. Begonias can cause kidney failure. Just keep away. But then there's a few, not as many, thankfully, but there are a few plants that are fatal to animals. So the autumn crocus is one of them that can cause multiple organ damage and bone marrow suppression.
It has the word croak in it, so that feels
there you go.
That feels pretty accurate.
You should just take it from that. The bird of paradise, which is one that I hadn't really heard of. It's got some minor side effects, but it is fatal for rabbits.
The term paradise.
It's a lie.
Another form telling you exactly what its plan for you it is.
Right. It's time to go to paradise.
Yep.
Cyclamen, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's a plant that has these tubers. And so large ingestion of these tubers can cause heart rhythm abnormalities, seizures, and death. Okay. So that's one to know. The dog hobble. And I would have thought that a plant that had a dog in it, dog hobble, would be safe for dogs. Like, why name it after something that it'll kill? But
it sounds like a dance move.
The dog hobble. The dog hobble has some toxins that causes cardiovascular collapse, coma, and death. So that's a really dangerous one for dogs, cats, and horses.
We are now on TikTok, and if any of you guys want to make the dog hobble dance move challenge,
yes,
I am open to that one. Let's start the dog.
Start that with what we think the dog hobble is.
I assume it's just wobbling back and forth, like those old hunting toys that you give kids that have the heavy bottom. So when you hit it, comes back up, it just wobbles.
Hobble. That's hilarious.
Yeah, something like that.
Foxglove also causes cardiac failure and death. Laurels cause cardiac failure. Lilies, lily of the valley bush. That's going to cause kidney failure, cardiac failure, death, coma, before death sometimes. Oleander causes colic, depression, and death. Tiger lilies, which cause kidney failure and death. Tobacco causes paralysis and death. And then yew causes sudden death from acute cardiac failure.
Me?
Y-E-W, not Y-O-U.
Oh, God. Okay. I was like, I didn't do that.
No.
It wasn't me.
No. There were 3 plants that are really, really bad. So I did want to kind of spend a little bit more time talking about these. The sago palm is one of them because, especially if you live in a tropical area, right? Like that's one that our pets are definitely able to be exposed to.
Seen it.
Yeah. Have you seen sago palm poisoning?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't. But it can include millennia, which is a new word to me. I didn't know what that meant. I had to look it up. Do you have a Nessie Defi for millennia?
Bloody tarry stools?
Yep. Because they form when there's, bleeding in the intestines. They can cause icterus. That was also a new term I've never heard of before. Do you have a Nessie Defi for icterus?
That's when they turn yellow?
Yeah, it's jaundice, yeah.
They become a bit oompa loompa.
Yeah. It's the yellowing of mucous membranes, skin.
Have you ever seen a pet that's icteric?
Once. Had a leptospirosis.
It's like their ears are highlight or yellow.
This one, I don't remember if I saw it inside the ear. It was a pure white pit bull, but that dog walked in, like her skin was yellow. It was really scary. You
see that a lot with liver failure. And when you spin down their blood, their serum is also highlighter yellow.
That's terrifying. Well, that yellow color comes from bilirubin in the blood. Do you have an NSAID for bilirubin?
I don't really have a great one for that. I know that it's big bad.
Yeah.
And I know it has to do with your liver, and that's all I got for you.
This is another one I had to look up because I'd never deal with bilirubin, but it is a yellow-orange pigment that is produced when red blood cells break down. So we know that red blood cells are really important for carrying oxygen to the body. So when those start to break down, then you have an excess of bilirubin, which is a pigment that turns your sclera yellow, which is the whites of your eyes, skin, mucous membranes, all of that. So sago palms can also cause hemorrhagic gastroenteritis. Have we talked about that before?
I do believe we did. HGE, we did mention it
okay.
before. Mm-hmm.
So real bad stuff. And coagulopathy when it can't clot or can't clot normally. Yeah, so it's a bleeding disorder. So all of these really like blood-related issues happen with the ingestion of sago palm. And that is for dogs, cats, and horses. So do not let your animals near it. If you have one on your property or if you're out in public and you see one, leave it alone.
All it takes is that one time for them to get into it, eat a seed off of it. That's it.
Yeah. Rhododendron is another really, really bad one. So that one has gray toxins. We mentioned something else just a little bit ago that had gray toxins in it. And I think it was lily of the valley. But it's not super palatable for horses, so it's less of a concern for them. But goats and sheep will eat it, and it's toxic to them too. Even just chewing on a few of the leaves of rhododendron can cause very serious problems. So gray toxins interfere with normal skeletal muscle, cardiac muscle, and nerve function. The symptoms usually start a few hours after ingestion, like vomiting and diarrhea, colic, weakness, stupor, leg paralysis, central nervous system depression. Some of these symptoms can be observed for like 2 days or longer. At that point, they said, the animal's either going to improve from there or they're going to collapse and they're going to become comatose and die. So it's 50-50 at that point. So it's really scary.
50-50 is not great odds.
The last one I wanted to point out was castor bean plants because that has ricin in it. And so the beans themselves are very toxic. They create oral irritations like burning of the mouth and throat, vomiting, diarrhea, convulsions, kidney failure, a bunch of things happening. And this website was saying that the most common poisonings happened with access to ornamental plants and pruned foliage. Like it's not just like something that just you happen upon. Like this is intentional as a decoration. So, but ricin itself inhibits protein synthesis. So ingestion of as little as like an ounce of seeds can be lethal. You're going to see all of those symptoms, like loss of appetite, weakness, trembling, sweating, fever. And then as the syndrome progresses, you might see some bloody diarrhea, convulsions, coma, death.
Okay. Wow.
I think we're going to need a little bit of a lighter subject. Is it time for a review?
I think it is absolutely time for review. We are going to stick with our poison themes, the poison bands, poison songs, all the things that are toxic related.
All the poisons.
All the poisons. What do you have for our first review?
So Reba McEntire for her song Poison Sugar.
They call him Poison Sugar, 'cause there's poison in his kiss.
Oh, I love. Also, we are sticking with dog park reviews. Gonna keep everything as similar as possible because it's a series. And we have so much fun with these dog park reviews. Gosh, which one do I want to start with? All right. I'm going to start with this dog park in Taylorsville, Utah, called Miracle Off-Leash Dog Park.
Miracle? Okay.
Yes.
I have high expectations now.
It is a 1-star review from Reba. This dog park is closed arbitrarily on Tuesdays. Tuesdays! Why? What overpaid corporate geezer made that genius decision? What? Did the rocks need a break? The wood chips hit their overtime for the week? What a joke. Keep it open for everyone.
Wow, Reba. That's a pretty, that's not miraculous at all. That's a very intense opinion.
Mill Race. It's Mill Race, Off-Leash Dog Park. I can't read.
Oh. Oh, dear.
So I think she's not considering the rock's perspective in this.
Oh.
Yes, they do need a break. Have you been walked on all day,
And
every
peed on?
day? It's exhausting. Give them a break. And think about all those people out there that have those pet rocks. What do you think they would think if they know you're just out here petting and walking all over these rocks and not giving them a break?
I don't know what to say to that.
In fact, this led me down a rabbit hole.
Oh, okay.
I found a Reddit post about pet rocks.
Bet you did.
All about how do I know if I'm ready to be a pet rock owner.
That sounds wonderful, actually.
So, this Reddit thread is I have several questions before I get a pet rock.
Mhm.
1. What should I do when my pet rock dies? How long should I expect it to live? 2. What what are the optimal conditions for my pet rock to live in? 3. Will my pet rock be happy if I polish it?
Oh, I love this.
4. Do pet pebbles like to live underwater? And 6. I skipped 5 because 5 is about a tattoo, giving a rock a tattoo, and it's stupid. 6. If my rock cracks in half, is it similar to mitosis or does it just die?
Is it similar to mitosis?
Right. And I just want to share with you a couple responses.
I love that.
One said, giving a rock a tattoo is abuse, just like any other pet. And someone responded to that, unless it's for medical reasons.
Okay.
And this other one answered all 6 of his questions. Number 1, your pet rock will likely outlive you, so there's not much to worry about there. 2, pet rocks do not do well in overstimulating conditions and do well in better in calmer environments. 3, your pet rock will be happy with its new shiny look, and I highly recommend just make sure not to over polish it. And then there is, if your rock breaks in half, you now have 2 pet rocks. I skipped the other answers because they're not nearly as good. But what I'm thinking is Reba did not find this group of people that take their pet rocks very seriously on Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is why they get Tuesdays off. And also, there is a sign posted on the park that says closed on Tuesdays.
Well, okay. So my first thought is, well, that's kind of nice because then they have a day to maintain the park, cut the grass, scoop up all the poop. Because you bet that if it was open 7 days a week, Reba would be like, there's so much poop. The grass is too long. How dare they call this place a dog park? You know.
They're not going to close it on a Saturday or Sunday because those are going to be the big ticket days that people are available to come visit the dog park.
Yeah.
So, yes, Tuesday makes sense.
That makes total sense. Absolutely.
And they're already on overtime, like those poor wood chips.
The mulch is just devastated.
Yeah. I mean, you got to give the bacteria and stuff some time to catch up. Very heartless of you, Reba.
Heartless. Bad job, Reba. 0 stars.
Okay.
So, over-the-counter medications and human prescriptions are number 1 and number 3 on the list of the top 10 calls that the APCC gets, making somewhere between 29 and 34% of all calls last year. That's a lot of calls. And the most common over-the-counter calls were about ibuprofen, acetaminophen, cold and flu meds, vitamins and supplements, and joint rubs. So I thought that was really interesting.
Don't let your dog lick your joint rubs.
Don't you lick my Bengay.
Was that your take of an elderly voice? Like when you get older, is that what you guys sound like?
Well, I don't know. Maybe y'all sound more like, well, don't you lick my Bengay. You know, that's an option.
That's
Possibly.
actually probably pretty spot on. I like it.
Yeah. So there's some options there that I could choose from. The most common prescription toxicity calls were about heart medications, antidepressants, and ADHD medications. The AVMA has a list of human medications that are most harmful for pets, so I thought we should kind of go through a few of just the most common ones. Acetaminophen, which is in Tylenol, cats cannot metabolize this at all. And due to such a high risk of toxicity, dogs should only ever receive acetaminophen under direct and very specific direction of a veterinarian. It's also toxic to ferrets, I learned. Among the many symptoms of toxicity, animals can get cyanosis from acetaminophen toxicity, which is that, we talked about it last time, the bluish purple coloring to the skin and mucous membranes. They can get jaundice, or as we just learned, icterus. What did you call it? Icteric? Icterus. That one. It also can cause a significant decrease in body temperature and facial and paw swelling. So acetaminophen can, in correct and safe doses, under the direction of a veterinarian, be given to dogs, but not to cats, not to ferrets, and probably not to very many species at all. So if you have it and you think your pet may have ingested it, call your veterinarian. Another one is any of the amphetamines, dextroamphetamine, which is in Adderall. It can cause agitation, increased heart rate, increased body temperature, and seizures. So
Yikes.
not good for pets. And they said signs can be seen within minutes or even up to several hours following ingestion. So antidepressants, which I know very little personally about antidepressants, but there's a bunch of different kinds. When I went to look this up, there's an entire rabbit hole you can just go right down. And I didn't think it was too important to do a deep dive into each of them and like what they do. But I did just want to kind of cover the major thing that can happen when a pet gets a hold of an owner's antidepressant medication, which is serotonin syndrome. I didn't know about it before the research for this episode, but I did go to one of our favorite websites for this one, which is Veterinary Partner. It's a very short article.
Hooray!
Yay! It's a quick read. But serotonin is a chemical that the body produces naturally, and it's essential for the brain and nerve cells to function properly. So serotonin is good. Serotonin syndrome happens when there's an overstimulation on the serotonin receptors. So those symptoms that can start within an hour of ingestion and can last for 24 hours or longer. But the most common symptoms are GI upset, but can include increased heart rate, fever, muscle tremors or jerking, difficulty walking, agitation, excitation, disorientation, vocalization, seizures, and it can even lead to death. So it can be a life-threatening condition.
Yikes.
I know. I was like, oh, I didn't know you could have like too much serotonin. Aspirin is another one. Cats are more sensitive to aspirin than dogs are, so they should never be given this medication. Giving aspirin to a horse that isn't eating greatly increases the risk of gastric erosion. So I thought that was interesting. I know very little about horses myself, but symptoms are millennia, pale gums, difficulty breathing, dehydration. They can start as early as a few hours after consumption, but so sometimes signs don't start for a few days. So it can be very difficult to determine if ingestion occurred.
Right when you think that it didn't, the symptoms start.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing I found the most information on that I found most interesting was ibuprofen and naproxen. So I take ibuprofen whenever I have, a flare up of my back pain or I have a new sprain or whatever, But ibuprofen, naproxen are also in Advil and Motrin and Aleve and Midol. So they're in a lot of other medications as well. And these are unfortunately very common toxicities among household pets because, well-meaning owners will give them to try and relieve their pets of a noticeable pain. And so I wanted to take a minute to talk about why they're so dangerous, like what they do. The FDA website has a great explanation of NSAIDs. Do you have a NSAID for an NSAID?
So that your pain and inflammation stops.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So stands for non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. They're often given for pain and inflammation following some sort of injury or strain. And I know we've both talked about some of our own injuries from working with animals. And anytime I get a slight strain or a flare-up, like the first thing I reach for is ibuprofen, 100%.
I would love, because I just saw, now that we have a TikTok, I'm trying to catch up on some of the animal trends on there. And I saw these vet techs at this hospital. And it was like, I'm a 30-year-old vet tech. of course my knees hurt or something like that. And he
Yeah.
was like, this one guy's like, I'm a 40-year-old vet tech. I sprained my neck putting on my stethoscope.
Oh no.
And so, I think it's funny. Like, one that I can automatically think of is on the floor position with the dog. Like, I'm a almost 40-year-old vet tech. My leg's asleep after putting in a catheter.
Yes. Yes.
I can't get up right now.
When you squat for just a little too long and you have no feeling in your legs and you have to like sit on your bottom with your legs out for a few minutes before getting off the floor.
Of course I can't get up after sitting on the floor for too long. I'm
Yep.
an almost 40-year-old vet tech. I need this counter to get up.
Hey, can you take this dog from me? I have to get off the floor.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, dear.
So I think it would be really funny to do one of those skits.
I think that would be very true to life. When there is cell damage anywhere in the body, right? Like your back, for instance, or your neck, there's an enzyme that is activated called cyclooxygenase, or COX for short, COX. Now, the COX enzyme stimulates the body to produce several substances after cells have been damaged, but among them is prostaglandins. So the COX enzyme is present all throughout the body. Most notably, it's in the stomach, intestines, and kidneys. And prostaglandins also present throughout the body. And prostaglandins do contribute to pain and inflammation. So that is a negative side effect or a negative effect that they have. But they also have some really important positive functions also, including protecting the lining of the stomach and intestines, helping maintain blood flow to the kidneys, and supporting platelet function. Do you have a NSAID for platelets?
You need them for your blood to clot.
Mm-hmm. I thought you were going to say something like, you gon' clot. Yes.
You gotta have them or else you gonna bleed out.
That's right. So they're little cell fragments in the blood that form clots. I actually had a childhood disease called idiopathic thrombocytopenic purpura, or ITP, and my body did not make enough platelets. So I was diagnosed in 3rd grade when I had just a bunch of bruises just all over. And they didn't hurt, like they weren't from anything. But turns out a human is supposed to have like 200,000 platelets. I had 200. So I was hospitalized and I had like weekly blood draws and IV medications for several years. And that was such a huge part of my childhood, because I could never get injured. I couldn't get a cut. I couldn't get a skin knee, because we never knew if it would actually clot. So platelets are very important and they are supported by prostaglandins. So we like prostaglandins. So some NSAIDs work by blocking the COX enzyme, and that makes fewer prostaglandins to be produced. Other NSAIDs work by blocking the activity of certain prostaglandins, right? So that's what NSAIDs do.
It's a cox blocker.
Bruh.
I saw your face when you had that in your head, and I was like, she's going to say something funny. Oh,
I tried to wait it out and let it go, but I could not.
Can we make that the title of the episode? NSAIDs.
Cox
Cox
blocker.
blocker.
Ding ding, that's
Oh,
it.
that's hilarious. Oh my goodness. So yeah, so that's what NSAIDs do. Now, even though NSAIDs are given to block the negative effects of prostaglandins, they do also block the positive effects of prostaglandins as well. The most common symptoms that were reported to the FDA Center for Veterinary Medicine of human NSAID toxicity are going to be vomiting, diarrhea, inappetence, and lethargy. But more serious side effects can happen even with small doses. So, remember that prostaglandins protect the lining of the GI tract. So blocking prostaglandin production or activity can create ulcers in the stomach and intestines. And those ulcers can perforate, right? So which means that the hole goes all the way through the lining there. So in the stomach and intestines, you can have that problem. Prostaglandins also cause arteries going to the kidneys to open, keeping blood flowing to the kidneys. So blocking prostaglandin production or activity can reduce blood flow to the kidneys, possibly causing kidney damage and leading to sudden onset kidney failure. NSAIDs can also be damaging to the liver, right? Because the liver is a filtering organ. The FDA website says that they get hundreds of calls every year about dogs and cats accidentally getting a hold of their owner's NSAIDs. And it can be dose dependent. So the higher the dose the animal gets, the more damage that can happen, including liver failure and death. So they were saying that GI upset usually happens within 2 to 6 hours after ingestion. The more serious side effects can take up to 4 to 5 days to present, to start. So that's a lot of time that is just sitting in the body, working, doing the damage.
The best thing to do is treat as if you're sure they had it.
Mm.
Don't wait for the symptoms to pop out.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, because you don't want to just sitting there
Yeah.
working and not seeing any symptoms and be like, oh no, he's fine. And then 5 days later, like your dog is gone.
Yep. If you suspect it, get into your vet, let them know. It's always better if you guys go ahead and treat it accordingly instead of waiting and being like, oh, well, here's those things 5 days later. And at that point, it's already done quite a bit of damage.
Okay, good. Shall we have a commercial break?
Yes, we can have a commercial. Yes.
At least I'm not the only one having trouble speaking today. Oof.
For you, we can commercial.
Very good.
Begging to hear more of your favorite show? Full episodes of all our shows are available on demand. Go to PetLifeRadio.com to fetch our entire lineup of Possum Pet podcasts. Also, dig us up in iHeartRadio and iTunes. Let's talk pets. Live and on demand only from Pet Life Radio.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets.
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
While we were on the little safari truck, like I wasn't getting in my car and riding around wild safari animals. You know? So we went to the place where you ride in their safari vehicle, and there were ostriches, and these ostriches came right up into your business, like poking their little heads through the holes on the safari truck,
What?
trying to they tell you to wear closed-toed shoes for a reason.
Oh,
Like
they peck at your toes like they're snacks?
Yeah, they peck at everything
Wow.
because they really want your attention. They're very curious birds, and they also look like they say, "I will fight. I fight anybody online." You know what I mean? They look like they say that. They just have a look about their face, and the attitude they give off to you is like they are definitely the type to fight you online.
Wow. Okay. I don't know that I've seen an ostrich up close.
They're so majestic and terrifying. There was only a couple of us on the safari that were even brave enough to put our little food cups out for the ostriches to try and eat from.
Yeah.
Because your hands are very close and they are very aggressive.
Don't they have rounded beaks? They're not super sharp, are they?
They're pointy.
Are they?
They have pointy
Okay.
beaks. Yeah. And they're very precise with them, and they come at you like tick, 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 tick.
Well, it sounds like my chickens. Yeah.
Yeah, except for very big chickens.
Very, very, very big. Dinosaurs is what we're looking at here.
Yeah.
Dinosaur birds.
And so my first introduction to them was actually the emus.
I like
In the first part of the safari before we came to the giant ostriches, which is their big cousin bird or whatever.
Mhm.
We just pulled onto the range, and I have my camera out and I look down, and it is the emu trying to find food around his feet. They're pecking at your foot right now. It's on video, these things attacking his little feet. And he just looks down, and it was wild.
I love birds. I would love to do a safari like that where you can get up close with birds.
It really wasn't that expensive, and the drive isn't too bad. They have a camel that loves you. As soon as we pulled in to the range, he came and he had this big floppy smile as soon as he saw us, and he just put his face in there for everybody. The camel was just so happy.
I want to pet him.
The zebras were very mean. They didn't want nothing to do. They were like, don't reach out at the zebras. They will bite you. They have teeth.
Huh. Okay.
The zebras were snapping at each other. There was a pregnant one, and she was stealing everybody's food.
Yeah, I imagine. That makes sense. Mm.
So it was a good time.
Good.
Hey, welcome back. I love Big Bird.
Yes. My favorite was Snuffleupagus, though.
Those eyelashes remind me of a lot that I see around today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just so you know, some of y'all with your fake eyelashes, you remind me of Snuffleupagus.
He did have some very, very nice, prominent eyelashes in the 70s.
Prominent. I will say prominent.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you have
Another
for
name?
us?
I do. This is going to be Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance for their song Party Poison.
Party Poison. That sounds like a bad one. This is a short one. And it's a very strange name. Okay, so it's from Hurricane, Utah.
The name of the city's hurricane?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't
Well, that's
think Utah
asking
gets
for
hurricanes.
disaster.
I mean, let me know if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Utah is inland enough or away enough that they don't get hurricanes. But
You would think.
y'all educate me if I'm dumb. It's called Hurricane Dog Park, and we don't have one here in Florida that I've seen, and I've looked at a lot of dog park names. Why don't we have a Hurricane Dog Park? Well,
Like,
we
hurricane
have
stop
them
here.
anyway.
That's true.
Nah, it hasn't hit that place yet, and that whole place is just named Hurricane. So. It is a 3-star review from Gerald?
Gerard.
Gerard. Restrooms. Where are they?
For the people or for the dogs?
If you're looking for a restroom, it's all around you.
Is there a park bench around?
Please just seek out your nearest park bench if you're a human, and if you're an animal, basically it's all around you. And also to put that as a review, like you didn't get a response to that in time.
No.
You know?
No way. That's funny.
So I wonder if they ever found a restroom.
Maybe they were the ones that messed on the park bench.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we
That would
thought
make
it might have
sense.
been Brittany.
The lady across the street.
Yeah.
Brittany.
I think we thought it might have been Brittany because she had that 3-minute warning.
But it was
But what if it was
Gerard
Gerard?
because they just couldn't find it.
Just couldn't find it. So,
They still gave it 3 stars. too.
like, decent park, but toilet?
This was. I have been looking around for a toilet for quite a while now, so otherwise this could have been a 5-star. It's like starting to concern me that I can't find one. That bush there, Gerard, would have been a good choice.
Yeah. And hey, Gerard, you have a little bit more freedom when it comes to peeing in public.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't think that I'm telling you guys to just pee everywhere in public because I'm not. But
Go find a tree
like if you got
out of the way.
you gotta go, don't pee on somebody's dog.
No, that's a bad one.
Don't do that. That's a bad time.
I actually remember, gosh, this was years ago now, but I was at a concert and when we had standing tickets, so we were like way, way, way out on the grass, but we were tailgating before we went in and I had to go to the bathroom and I was like, where are the restrooms? And I was with a bunch of people. They were like, oh, no, it's inside the gates. And I'm like, well, I don't want to go inside yet because we're still tailgating. And they're like, well, there's some trees over there. And I was like, oh, I'm not doing that. But I kind of looked over. I did me a little mosey to see if it was kind of private. It certainly was not, but there was probably like 24 people just in front of everyone, dropping trow and going to the bathroom in that little woodsy area because they also didn't want to go
Gross.
into the venue to use the public restrooms because they were tailgating. And I just remember being like, I hate this. I will not be doing this. I will be waiting till we're inside. That was crazy to me.
I will not be doing that either.
So if there was, aliens took over the world and then they had human parks because we would be their pets. If they had human parks, I imagine that would be. If aliens took over the world, I'm hoping that they are nice aliens and they keep us as pets instead of exterminating us.
Why can't we just live co-mutually?
Because that doesn't work with my joke.
Oh dear. Okay, continue.
Which is that we would have human parks where the aliens could take their human pets, and that is probably what it would end up being like.
Gross.
Yes, indeed.
I don't enjoy that. No. Hopefully we can communicate with them well enough that we can come to a better understanding.
Yes, I would rather have the Star Trek version of meeting aliens. That would be better.
If they could provide us with a portical potty, that would be nice.
A what?
The portical potty.
What is a portical potty?
Those ones that are orange and blue.
I don't know what that means.
They're orange and blue. And go inside and there's like a hole and waters where everybody commingles their matters. And sometimes there's a sink in it or a sanitizer. There's very rarely enough toilet paper in there.
Do you mean just like a regular porta potty?
Yes. Porta is the short version of the name.
Is it really? Are you joking?
Yeah, it's
I feel like
portable potty.
I thought that was like a thing. Also, I have never seen orange and blue. I don't think.
Really?
I don't think so.
I feel like everyone I've seen have been orange and blue. Sometimes all orange, sometimes all blue. But yes, porta is short for portable.
Portable. Oh, yes. Okay.
Because you can move it from location to location.
Porta potty. Yes. Great.
Well,
anyway.
All right. Want to introduce your song?
Yeah.
Wait. Before you do, check out our show notes for our bibliography.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you will find our social media handles there. There is now a TikTok one on there. Come find us. We're going to post things that are not on all of our other platforms. Love us, please. And then subscribe and make sure you're getting our newest episodes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, this is basically me begging. All right, go ahead.
So instead of an AI song, we're going to have the first recorded song by Authentically Awkward. It's called Colorado. Stacy wrote it. She wrote the lyrics. She wrote the music. I'm singing it, but Stacy did all of the instrumentation. So it's just the two of us in a studio with our buddy who helped us record it because he's got all the good stuff. And but yeah, so here it is.
Will you be available on Spotify? Will you have a link that I can put out?
Yes. Stacy is the one that has it, so she'll have to put it up on Spotify, and I will give you the link as soon as she has it.
All right. We will get that link up on our social media platforms when it becomes available. If you guys want to come and follow the group that started no other place but here on Let's Talk About Pets. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. We'll catch you next time. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Older will always have a place inside my heart. Summer nights in open air, with dawn about to start. And I can still remember the feeling in my bones of knowing someone's soul better than I knew my own. Older now feels like 1,000 miles away, and now I know my ticket back only goes one way. If I am to be stranded in a city without hope, I'll leave you with a tear-stained envelope. Colorado, I would have picked you every time. And waiting at your station, no, I was first in line. Colorado, I can tangle on your string, and I can stand to lose in love. I'd give up everything. But if loving you means loving what can't be, then I choose me. Years have come and gone with restless cities in between. Detroit to Chicago, San Francisco to New Orleans. We miss each other's trains, though I'm always chasing yours. Still I didn't see it coming when you settled on her shores. Picked you every time, and waiting at your station, no, I was first in line. Colorado, I can dangle on your string, and I can stand to lose in love. I'd give up everything.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.